Okay, so issue 7 of Ultimate Spider-Man just came out, and there are some crazy theories based on some of the events that happened in this issue, including the downfall of Harry Osborn and even the introduction of the symbiote. Keep watching to the end of the video to find out why. But before we get into that, if you guys are new around the channel, I want to urge you all to hit that subscribe button. If you love Spider-Man, join the best Spider-Man community in the entire world. We're trying to push to 30,000 subscribers. Let's try and get that goal. With that said, let's get straight into this. Ultimate Spider-Man, up until this point, has put a massive emphasis on the relationship between Harry Osborn and Peter Parker. Well, it's clear that they will eventually go from friends to enemies as Harry slowly becomes the Ultimate Spider-Man version of the villainous Green Goblin we all know and love. It wasn't clear how or when. Well, now we actually might have an idea of how and when this is going to happen, along with potentially the symbiote also being a part of that story, which I did not see coming. Either way, issue 7 opens up with Otto Octavius, who we met earlier on in the series, making some adjustments to Harry's suit. This portion of the book is largely exposition, explaining the mechanics of Harry's suit, and to an extent Peter's suit as well. For those of you who don't remember, Peter's suit is technically nanotech based, and he can transform into anything he wants. If we remember a few issues back when Peter first became Spider-Man, his daughter May told him that he needed a friendlier look, as Peter at the time was currently sporting just a black costume. And then we got a really nice montage where Peter tried out different outfits until May decided on the classic red and blue. The fact that the suit can actually do this is a very important detail to hold on to till the end of the video, so make sure you remember that. Anyway, Otto essentially explains the way that the suits are designed. He says that the suits also allow you to have an integrated AI system that will help you in combat. This is something we are already used to in superhero suits. In fact, Spider-Man has already had an integrated AI system many times before, the most notable being Karen from the Marvel Cinematic Universe in Spider-Man Homecoming. Either way, Otto explains that these AI systems can be installed into their suits, and they will act like an independent consciousness more than anything. Not only that, Otto also tells them that they get to choose the voice of the AI as well, which also comes along with a personality. Peter ends up making a joke about how he likes to talk to himself, so Otto decides to go with Peter as the base for his AI suit, whereas Harry says he wants it to be his dad. It's clear that Harry's character throughout the series still lives in Norman Osborn's shadow, despite him being dead. Similar to how we already know the Norman and Harry relationship from other Spider-Man media, Harry failed to live up to Norman's expectations in this Ultimate Universe, and it makes sense that he would want Norman as his AI partner inside his Goblin suit for two main reasons. Number one, it would push Harry harder than he's ever been pushed before, and number two, Harry gets a second chance at proving his father wrong, that he is worthy enough to carry the Osborn legacy, something that has been a major theme for the character throughout the series. Another thing that I also want to mention that I thought was really interesting is that it's also revealed that Otto has a consciousness set up as well and ready to go, and I think we all know that's teasing him eventually becoming Doc Ock at some point in the future. But either way, I thought it was an interesting detail and something that I couldn't leave out of the video. But more on this story later, as the book takes some time to catch up with some of the side characters. We then cut over to MJ and Gwen. As we know, Gwen in issue 4 offered MJ a large sum of money to help the growth of her business, and as we came to find out, she's in cahoots with Ben and Jonah, opening up the paper, a brand new newspaper business to rival the Daily Bugle. MJ goes to show Gwen the new building, which has just been renovated, but it's not open. This then leads us onto the reveal that JJ and Ben have met someone from the Bugle who is looking to leak all of their secrets. If you guys remember, Wilson Fisk is in control of the Bugle, and subsequently anything published runs on the agenda that Fisk sees fit. Ben and JJ refuse to accept this and therefore left. Back in the present, however, it's revealed that the snitch inside the Bugle is actually none other than Robbie Robertson. Robbie is offered to join the paper alongside Jonah and Ben, but declines because he thinks his efforts would be better suited on the inside of the Bugle, so he can acquire stories that the paper can publish. We then cut over to Wilson Fisk, who meets with none other than Captain Britain. Essentially, they discuss the situation with rising superheroes and how it's gotten out of hand. If you haven't been following the whole Ultimate Universe up until this point, essentially an evil version of Reed Richards called the Maker essentially eradicated all superheroes from the Ultimate Universe and basically reset the universe where they didn't exist. This is why Peter Parker never became Spider-Man at 15 years old, but rather became Spider-Man into his 30s. But now the heroes are on the rise, and Britain approaches Fisk with some soldiers and weapons to take care of his enemies, but Fisk refuses, saying he will deal with them on his own accord. Of course, we assume he is talking talking about the Goblin and Spider-Man here. We then cut back over to Harry and Peter, who are once again training with each other. This is when Otto activates the AIs within their suits, and after a quick reboot, the AIs are online. Norman Osborn starts speaking to Harry, and Peter starts speaking to himself. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting, so make sure you're switched on. Starting off with Harry, this is clearly going to be one of the main reasons he falls into villainy. If you've read the issue, you'll know that Norman is constantly pushing him during these few panels. During the fight he has with Spider-Man during their training session, Norman keeps telling Harry he's a failure, but Harry's determination to prove his father wrong and that he's not a failure, he constantly bashes Peter, and he eventually takes the fight a little bit out of proportion, as he ends up really hurting him. I imagine during the next couple of issues, Norman will get into Harry's head, making him do things that he once maybe didn't want to do, just to prove to his father that he is a worthy son. I also imagine this is how Harry eventually turns on Peter. Norman potentially might even convince Harry that Peter is in the wrong, or Peter isn't the right person to deal with a certain situation. However, moving on to Peter, when his AI is activated, something really, really interesting happens. Now, without explaining anything, I'm going to read you the first paragraph said by Peter's AI during this panel, and you come to your own conclusion what you think about this. After Peter calls out Harry for having daddy issues, Peter's suit responds with, and I quote, "Speaking of dads, you know who's a good one? We are. Just the best. Love those kids. And both of their birthdays are coming up. We should get them something good. Really good. I bet Harry's dad gave him the worst present. You can tell. We should take it easy on him. We? Not to mention the completely unsubtle white text on a black speech bubble. This is the symbiote. I am telling you, this is the symbiote. This is how they're doing the symbiote in the Ultimate Universe. It's got to be. I think this is really interesting because instead of the symbiote being an alien, if this theory is true, the symbiote will actually be this AI version of Peter installed into his suit. I imagine just like how Norman inside Harry's suit will manipulate him into doing villainous things, the same could happen for this AI inside of Peter's suit. Heck, even Peter recognizes that maybe this whole AI thing isn't a good idea after it was so forward with him. I think just the foreshadowing is so strong. I think this has got to be how they do the symbiote. There's got no if, buts, and maybes. This has to be how they do it. And also, if this is how they do the symbiote, I'm not sure how they tackle Venom, but maybe that's a story for another day. Either way, this issue ends with Iron Man once again showing up, asking Peter if he's a hero yet, as it cuts away. This is one of the best issues of this series so far, teasing us with more Spider-Man vs. Green Goblin stuff, and I cannot wait for the future issues. Based on previews and covers that have been released, I'm pretty sure they'll clash during issue 10, which is a few months away. And a lot of stuff could happen in between now and then. Thank you very much for watching. Here you can watch my video on why a modern day Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man comics doesn't work. Thank you very much for the members for supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. If you do want to become a member and support the channel, if you love my content, then make sure to become a member and click the join button down below. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.